Aloha! Olora keia velina mai ka YouTube channel ke Aloha no Hawaii. Hello, this is Laura and welcome to my YouTube channel ke Aloha no Hawaii. In our very first grammar lesson, we learned about simple verb sentences and how to say things like I eat or I read the book. Now these sentences allow us to say something that we regularly or habitually do. But what if you wanted to say what you did, I ate, what you are currently doing, I am eating, or what you will do in the future, I am going to eat? Well, in this video, we will learn about verb tenses.
In English grammar, there are 12 different verb tenses. A sentence like, I read, is an example of the simple present tense, which we use to talk about actions that we do on a regular basis. A sentence like, I read, is an example of the simple past tense, which we use to talk about completed actions. And sentences like, I am going to read, or I will read, are examples of the simple future tense, which we use to talk about actions that will happen in the future. A sentence like, I am reading, is an example of the present continuous tense, which we use to talk about actions that we are currently doing.
Mahalo! And verb tenses are going to work in a similar way in Hawaiian. So how do we create these verb tenses? Well, in English, we create different verb tenses by having a different form of the verb, I ate, having a different form of the verb plus a helping word, I am eating, or just having helping words, I am going to eat. Well, in Hawaiian, we will never change the form of the verb, but we will rely on helping words, or more specifically, verb markers, maka painu. Remember in our sentence, helu heluau I kapuke? I was our object marker, which told us that the noun right after it was the object of the sentence. Well, verb markers are going to work in a very similar way. They are going to be small words that come before and or after the verb that tell us the tense of the verb. So let's learn these verb markers. First, let's start and review our simple present sentence, which again is a sentence we learned in our first video and it has no verb markers. The very basic sentence is verb subject, such as aiau, I eat. Now to create a past tense sentence like I ate, the word order is ua, which is a verb marker, then the verb, and then the subject. So it's just like the present simple sentence or the simple present sentence, you just add your verb marker ua at the very beginning, which means I ate would be ua, I, o, uaiau, I ate. Well, what if you wanted to say, I ate the banana? Remember, it's going to be just like the simple present sentence, you will just add ua at the beginning. So then I ate the banana is simply ua aiau I kamaia. Kamaia is banana. Easy as that. Okay, now let's learn about the present continuous sentence, something like I am eating. Again, we'll use verb markers, but they'll be a little different for this one. The word order will be verb marker ke, then verb, then another verb marker nei, and then your subject. So filling it in for I am eating, ke, verb, eat, I, ne, subject, I. O. Ke aineo. I am eating. Well, what about Mary is eating? Well, we're just going to swap out the subject. Instead of I, you replace it with Mary. But remember, when proper nouns, so names of people, are subjects of the sentence, you add O before the name. So Mary is eating is Ke ai ne o Mary. Ke ai ne o Mary. Mary is eating. And finally, let's learn the future tense. I am going to eat. The word order for those sentences are verb marker A, then your verb, then Anna, and finally your subject. So I am going to eat is A, verb, eat, I, Anna, o. E ayana o. I am going to eat. And the teacher is going to eat. Again, we're just swapping out the subject. E, I, Ana, ke kumu. E ayana ke kumu. The teacher is going to eat. Now, there is another form of the future tense, and that's a sentence built by a, verb, subject. Very similar, it's just missing that ana after the verb. So a sentence like a ayo roughly translates to I will eat. So what's the difference between a ayano, I am going to eat, and a ayo, I will eat? Well, in the second sentence, you're talking about something that, yes, is going to happen in the future, but you really haven't committed to a time frame. For example, say your mom said to you, you should eat. And you told her, oh yes, I'm going to eat at noon, or I'm going to eat soon, or I'm going to eat in 15 minutes. In all of those cases, you're committing to some time in the future. So you'll use I know, I am going to eat. But imagine your mom said, you should eat, and you responded, oh yes, I'll eat. I'll eat, yes, is talking about something that's going to happen in the future, but you're not really committing to a specific time. It's a bit vague. So you'll use I will eat at some point in the future. Does that make sense? I'll note that something like ayo also can mean I should eat. But for this video, we're going to focus mostly on the form a, verb, ana, subject. Okay? So let's review all those three tenses one more time. How about we use the verb read, helu, and the subject, the child, ke keiki. So for past tense, the child read, it would be ua, verb, helu, subject, ke keiki. Ua helu ke keiki. And for the present continuous, the child is reading. Ke, verb, helu, ne, subject, ke keiki. Ke helu ne ke keiki. The child is reading. And finally, our future tense, the child is going to read. A, verb, helu, ana, subject, ke keiki. E helu ana ke keiki. The child is going to read. mai ka'i. So now you know how to talk about what you or other people did, are currently doing, or are going to do in the future. But what if you wanted to talk about something that you did not do, an action that you are not currently doing, or something that you are not going to do in the future? Well, we'll need to learn how to create our negative sentences for each tense. Ka ho'ole. Now we learned about creating negative sentences for our pepeke aike he, our class inclusion sentences, our pepeke he nua, locational sentences, and our pepeke aike o, our equational sentences. And for all of those pepeke, we created the negative by using the negating word a'ole. So for these simple verb sentences, along with all of the tenses, we will also use the negating word a'ole. However, the word order is going to be different depending on what the subject of the sentence is. We'll have one word order if the subject of the sentence is a papani or pronoun, I, you, they. But we'll have a different word order if the subject of our sentence is a ioa, proper noun, or a mamea, common noun. Mary, the child. So let's learn all of those word orders. Let's actually just start with our present simple because we never actually learned the negative in our first lesson. Remember, the word order for these simple present sentences are verb, subject. Now, to create the negative, when the subject of the sentence is a proper noun or a common noun, the word order is simply going to be negating word a'ole, verb, subject. So it is just like the present simple sentence, you're just adding a'ole at the beginning. So something like the child doesn't read would be a'ole helu helu ke keiki. But if the subject of the sentence is a pronoun, the order is going to be negating word a'ole, subject, verb. So the subject and verb got swapped. Something like I do not read would be a'ole o helu helu. A'ole o helu helu. I don't read. Does that make sense? This is going to be a similar pattern for all of the tenses. So let's learn that now. We'll start with the past tense. Now, remember the word order for past tense was just ua, verb, subject. To create the negative, when the subject of the sentence is a proper noun like a name or a common noun, the word order is going to be negating word a'ole, then the marker e instead of ua, then verb, and then subject. So once again, it's like the past tense sentence. You just replace ua with e, and you add a'ole at the very beginning. So something like Mary didn't read would be a'ole I helu helu o Mary. A'ole I helu helu o Mary. Mary did not read. But if the subject is a pronoun, the word order is a'ole, subject, I, verb. So for a sentence like you didn't read, it would be a'ole oe I helu helu. You did not read. Okay, let's look at our present continuous. That word again was ke verb, ne, subject. To create the negative, when the when the subject is a proper noun or a common noun, the word order will be negating word, a'ole, then a instead of k, then the verb, then ne, and then the subject. So once again, similar to your regular present continuous, you're simply replacing k with a, and you add your negating word a'ole at the beginning. So if you wanted to say, the child is not reading, it would be a'ole e helu helu ne kekeiki. But if the subject is a pronoun, the word order is a'ole for your negating word, then the subject, then essentially your verb phrase, a, verb, ne. So something like, she is not reading. It would be a'ole oia e helu helu ne. Make sense? And then for the future tense, again, the word order was a, verb, ana, subject. To create the negative, when the subject of the sentence is a proper noun or a common noun, the word order is negating word a'ole, a, verb, ana, subject. So in this case, there were no changes to the verb markers. You just added a'ole at the beginning. So for a sentence like, Mary is not going to read, we would say, a'ole e helu helu ana o Mary. But if a pronoun is a subject of the sentence, can you guess what the word order is? Yep, it's just like the other ones. A'ole for your negating word, then the subject right after it, and then your verb phrase, a, verb, ana. So for something like you two are not going to read, you would say, a'ole olua e helu helu ana. Whew, that was a lot of sentences to learn. So let's review all of our tenses and the negative versions one more time. For our simple present sentences, these are sentences with no verb markers. The word order is verb, subject. For example, ayo, I eat. To create the negative, if the subject is a proper noun or common noun, the word order is a'ole, verb, subject, such as a'ole ai o Mary, Mary does not eat. But if the subject is a pronoun, the word order is a'ole, subject, verb, such as a'oleao I do not eat. For our simple past sentences, the word order is ua, verb, subject. For example, ua aio, I ate. To create a negative sentence, if the subject is a proper noun or common noun, the word order is a'ole, e, verb, subject. For example, a'olei ai o Mary, Mary did not eat. But if the subject is a pronoun, the word order is a'ole, subject, e, verb, such as a'oleao I did not eat. For our continuous present sentences, the word order is ke, verb, nei, subject, such as ke aineo, I am eating. To create the negative, if the subject is a proper noun or common noun, the word order is aole, e, verb, nei, subject, such as aole ai ne o Mary. Mary is not eating. But if the subject is a pronoun, the word order is aole, subject, e, verb, ne. For example, aoleao e aine. I am not eating. And finally, our simple future sentences. The word order is a, verb, ana, subject, such as e ai anao, I am going to eat. To create the negative, if the subject is a proper noun or common noun, the word order is aole, e, verb, ana, subject. For example, aole e ayana o Mary. Mary is not going to eat. But if the subject is a pronoun, the word order is aole, subject, e, verb, ana, such as aoleao e ayana, I am not going to eat. And those are all of your verb tenses. You can now talk about what you or other people did or did not do, are currently doing or are currently not doing, and are going to do or are not going to do. So here's your homework. Think about actions that you do in your home. Cook, kuke. Clean, ho'oma'e. Work, hana. Before you do an action, say that you're going to do that action. I am going to clean. And then while you're doing that activity, say that you are currently doing that action. I am cleaning. And finally, after you completed your task, say that you just did that action. I cleaned. Try to do that for 3 different activities that you do at home. And if you don't know the words for what you're doing, use an online English-Hawaiian dictionary to look up the verb. Well, as always, mahalo nui for watching. We are beginning to wrap up what I'm going to call level 1 of these grammar videos. So if you missed any of the past videos, or if you just need a refresher on any of the lessons, you can find links to all of those lessons in the description below, along with some of my favorite Hawaiian language learning resources. As always, please click the thumbs up button. It really helps get this video in front of other people who are looking for Hawaiian language lessons. And if you had any questions or just want to talk about your journey learning Hawaiian, leave a comment below. I do try to reply to every single comment. If you haven't already, click the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. That will let you know as soon as new videos are released. Okay, until next time, ahui ho!